Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Give me a wave, a yes. Okay, good. We're going to give it our customary 5 minutes to let stragglers log in here. So it's now 10:59, so we will start promptly at 11:05. For those you all just coming on, it'll be 11:05 is when we'll start. Just letting a few more people get logged on here before we start. This will also be recorded, but you guys don't need to know that because you're here. I will send that out for everyone. So just so you know, though, too, that you can always go back and reference things later. It will be recorded and posted to the Agent Hub. Be back in 4 minutes. One more minute. We'll be starting in 1 minute.
Yes, 11:04.
Would 11:45 work for you for the callback?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, we got 11:05 here. We're ready to start. Good morning, everyone, or early afternoon, or late morning, I should say. What we're going to do here, I'm going to start going through some things, and then I'll pause for some questions. I do want to try to keep it moving at the beginning because this will be recorded. So I want it to be kind of efficient for people that are watching the recording, and then have a question and answer later. So feel free to put any questions you have in the chat now so you don't forget them. And then once I do get to a point where I pause, then I'll read those and go over those. So let me start with kind of communication here. So we communicate in a lot of different ways with bombs, with different things. So I just want to make this more efficient. So one of the things that I am now doing here, this is our agent hub. Hopefully you're familiar with that. And everyone can see that, right? See my page, I'm sharing it correctly, right? Everyone sees the agent hub. Okay, so on the agent hub here, you click on videos. Thank you. Click on videos here. Where's my, and you'll see we have a lot of different tutorials on there from different people. And then down here, you have general updates and contract updates. Obviously being some big changes, you want to look at both of them. But what I'm doing here too, they will all now are going to be actually dated and time stamped. So there's August 7th, 2024, maybe timestamps, maybe getting too much detail, but that way you can easily come in here, see what the latest one is, where I'm talking. And one of the reasons I want to do that is things are going to change. So what I tell you today could be different tomorrow, could be different a week from now. There's a lot of change going on, a lot of different things you're hearing out there on how people are handling things. So it's going to evolve. So I'm going to post those here, the recordings, they'll be time and dated. So you can always come here. Obviously it's great when you can be here live and ask questions, but I want to make sure everyone knew where that was. Okay, I'll get right into it. So a day early yesterday, the commissions were taken off the MLS site. So now we do have this page in place for your buyer broker commission. One of the big things, because I've had this question about sorting this file, one of the big compliance things is we're not supposed to sort it. So this file will not get sorted. It basically will just be any new listing that comes in. It'll go in here at the bottom. I just put one in here this morning for Pauline, and we'll just keep stacking them as they go, and then removing the ones that are, going under contract or being sold. Obviously, that's going to be very labor intensive, and I'm going to move over. Let me move over and change my screen here to give you some directions on how we're going to do that. So give me a second just to change screen sharing. All right.
Is it working?
Not yet. Here we go. For some reason, it didn't want to show the screen I wanted to show. There we go. So everyone sees that Word document now?
Yes.
Okay, so what we are doing, I showed you the page, that web page we have. So that's RMNSA BBC Buyer Broker Commission. So the way we're doing that is we have a shared Google Doc, and there's two ways we can do it. Some people are real comfortable with that. Some agents are not. So I'm giving you the choice. If you would like to do your own, which is no problem, I just ask that you don't sort or change or modify anything. You just go in and put your listing in at the bottom of that Excel file, the shared Google Doc. Or if you're not comfortable with that and you're like, hey, I don't want to mess with that, I don't ever use shared documents, you can write an email to the front desk, Roxanne, and myself with the subject line being listing BBC, and you're going to just include your MLS number, the address, and the buyer agent commission, and then we'll post it for you. So those are the two ways you can do that. Now, I want to make it clear, this is not like, this is a website that has all the buyer brokers commission. This is not you can't put that on the MLS. You can't put that on any site that has syndicated listings from our MLS. That's the whole point of this, which is, I'm not going to get into how backwards this is, but that's just the way it is. That's the rules. This is for, hey, if you want to just tell your fellow agents, you are allowed anything that's not syndicated by the MLS. You can put it on a yard sign. You can put it on your Facebook page. You can put it in different areas. Someone calls you, an agent from another company, you can tell them, hey, all our commissions are listed here at RMNSA BBC. So that's what we're doing as far as just having a place where you can see that. Obviously, we know it's going to be cumbersome. You're going to get a lot more calls. A lot of different things are going to happen with this, and this is going to evolve. But that's what I felt we would just at least cover. We would have a central place where we could put that information out there, mainly for other agents. I generally, I don't see why, and someone, ask a question or let me know their opinion, but I don't see that being somewhere where we want to send clients. This is somewhere where we want just agents to be aware what the offering is. So hopefully that all makes sense. And let me switch my screen sharing back here again, get back to where we were.
But we can still put it on social media and anywhere else that we want, right? Just not in MLS.
Yes, MLS or anywhere it's syndicated. Like, so you couldn't put it in a description or anywhere. Some people can edit their Zillow things. You couldn't put it there because that's syndicated on there. But yeah, all other places.
But on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that,
yes.
we could create a flyer. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Okay, and a little side note here, just because I'm on the right screen here to share. Let me move this around. And Frankie, are you on here? I saw your name. Is Frankie there? No. Okay. She was on there at one moment. But you got some emails about the concierge service that REMAX is doing. And if I can get there, oh. Give me 1 minute. Okay. Okay, here we go. And we've sent some things out, but I just wanted to go over it quickly. So one of the things that everyone doesn't like about internet leads is they're 1 or 2 in 100. So REMAX has come out with a concierge service where they do all the talking to the client until they're ready to go. And I just wanted to review that real quick. I have a bunch of you here, and then we'll get back to the commissions and everything. So if you go into your dashboard in Max Center and you go right here, Max Tech Lead Concierge, and you click on that, it'll give you the details about the program.
Have y'all received positive feedback from it?
They did in their testing. It hasn't started yet. As far as no one's gotten live leads here, they tested it in certain areas and they got positive results. So That's as
I
far as
thought
it's gone.
30% was really high, to be honest. For if we're already your REMAX agents to then charge us 30%, that
Yep,
just
and
seemed.
that complaint's been out there, but the issue is that right now there's $0 being here because agents don't do this. So
Mhm.
it's and really where the math works, and what I also I agree. I wish I would have liked it to be 25, but I'm offering 5% back on your first one too, just as an incentive to try it out and check it out. But where this really makes sense, dollars and cents wise, is your second deal. You know, if you do get it and you pay that 30%, you should at least get one referral off that, whether it's a listing, a buyer, their friends, and that's where the math really starts to work. So it's not for everyone, but it is a lot of work, and that's why no one does it. So in their mind, this is something that they're going to put a lot of money and effort into. But certainly, yes, I agree. It'd be nice if it's lower, but if it's something that works, I think it can be very good. So in here, you have that lead concierge, and you can see it'll goes over it in detail here, and you can just opt in and get going. We'll have more things on this coming. Like I said, they haven't actually started giving the leads yet, but they'll leave it lead. It'll be designated with a hashtag in your KV core under your leads. So that's just something I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of. You've gotten emails from myself and also directly from REMAX. So check that out when you get a chance if it's something you're interested in. Okay, let's go back here. And we're going to switch up again to some agreements here. So that's obviously been the big question. Now, obviously, just like we're putting that web page out there, that doesn't mean anyone's going to find it, right? So this is going to be a very manual situation at the beginning. Same for you all. You know, you have a listing that your buyer wants to go see. You're going to have to find out what that commission is, and then that is what it is. You know, the brokerages are going to do a lot of different things to either make it easy or maybe not make it easy. You're going to have to deal with that. But then the second part is how do you get paid and how do you secure that? So that's what we're going to look at next here. I'm going to switch over to another screen. And that's where I've had more of the questions and things occurring right now. Is how do I write that offer? How do I make sure I'm getting my commission? Because as you can see, even on when I had that page up, we do not guarantee that. That's not like the MLS anymore. Before, you could always fall back on the MLS to where, hey, you had this commission listed. Well, that's no longer there. So there's somewhat no accountability. We have to hope that everybody is, ethical and accountable themselves. And hopefully that will be the case as with anything. It's not always going to be the case. Okay, this is driving me crazy. Just give me one more second. I hope we will get this screen up here. It's not liking my Adobe screen. Okay, there we go. Okay. We've got it. So everyone should be seeing the forms now. What I'll start before I get into the commission is just make sure, I wanted to make sure this was clear again. Any representation agreement, meaning a buyer rep or listing agreement that you have that's pre-June form changes, needs to have an amendment to the representation agreement. And this is what I'm showing you right here. So this basically has to be done, prior to the 17th. I know the MLS made the changes today, but the 17th is the date you need to do this amendment. And basically this is more of a disclosure, basically saying that, hey, all compensation is fully negotiable, which hopefully when you originally did that agreement, that was talked about, because it's always been that way. But this is the requirement. It's a very simple form. As you can see here, you just put the date, and this is going to be mostly listings. Not a lot of people have past buyer agreements, but so mostly for listings that you have, you put that when that original listing date was, and then you put like today's date, this yesterday's date, the property address, and then you get it signed. So it's very simple, just basically saying, that all commissions are negotiable. Now, could that bring up more conversations about negotiating? Hopefully you had that conversation, when you did the listing agreement, you said that, and what you did on your side and what you're paying out to the buyer's broker commission, but this needs to go with that. Now, the other option on both of these scenarios, so this, like I said, goes for both buyer reps and for the listing agreement. You can also do a new agreement. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So either of those would be appropriate here. You can do a complete new agreement. I still think this is the better way to go, but that certainly is totally acceptable also. I'm going to break just for 1 second just to check this. Okay, so 2 questions, and I'll just answer those real quick. One was restate the whole address, and it's just for the buyer broker commission, it's RMNSA, which is REMAX North San Antonio, bbc.com. So very, hopefully easy and straightforward to some extent. And then a question about the concierge, and it is available for all agents, not just, your team leads. It is available for all on that side of it. Okay, so now the next question is, I'm going to write an offer. Hopefully everybody knows this. The page that you normally put the commission on is just an informational page, so that holds no weight. Make sure you know that. You send in your 1 to 4 and you put whatever percent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% on that page at the bottom. That has no weight to it. Now, the way that was secured, normally you would match that with what's on the MLS. Obviously, we don't know what's on the MLS. So you find out from the agent what the commission is, and then what you're going to include in all your offers moving forward is you're going to include a compensation agreement. Let me get to the right form here. Here we go. The addendum regarding broker's fees. So this is what you're going to fill out once you get the information from the listing party. So you're going to fill that out. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You got the property address, paid in Bexar County, and then you have some choices here, whether the listing broker is paying you or the seller shall pay. So you're not going to know that information. You're going to get that from the listing agent, and then you're going to be able to complete this, and then you're going to complete the form that's appropriate for which option you choose. So traditionally, how we used to do it, the listing broker would pay you. So if the listing broker says, yep, we're paying you and we're paying you X%, you're going to click that box, you're going to put the percent in there, and then you're going to fill out the TXR 2402, send that all off. That way, right when you go under contract, they sign your contract, boom, everything's stated, agreed upon, and signed. So there's no, do you have to do this? No. But you're going to be a lot of hecticness out there. Even our site, there could be a typo. You call an agent and they say, oh, it's 3%, and you don't do this. And later on, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking of another property. It's really 1%. And now you haven't protected yourself. So this way, you fill out these 2 forms, you know exactly, what you're being paid. And there's accountability here because it's all been signed off of. You can see you got the buyer signature and the seller signature here agreeing that that's what's going to be paid. So that's the main form you're going to use here. There, people are doing, you're going to see different things. I've already had people putting in offers and they're only doing this form, the 2406, which I'm semi okay with, but it says right there, you need the other form. So I would prefer to do them all at one time. There's some protection here. I do like that both the buyer and sellers sign this, but it's not, the brokerage is not signing this. So that's really why you need to have the other form. So when you look at the other forms, so here's the compensation agreement between brokers. So then you have the listing and the cooperating broker sign that. So that's how this all ties together. We want both buyer and seller to be in agreement. then you also want, obviously, the brokers to be in agreement of what's being paid. I'm really hoping that this changes. For those of you that are familiar with commercial, it's all on the contract. That's really, I think, where we're headed with this. And there's a lot of different scenarios out there, good and bad, and this is terrible, and it's going to be fine. Commercial agents have done it this way forever, and buyer brokers commissions almost always get paid. And they've never had an MLS where it's been posted like we do. I mean, there's some commercials properties that are on the MLS, but many are not. So in the commercial agreement, these compensation agreement between brokers and the buyer and seller, it's all on the contract. I think that would make a lot of sense, and hopefully we'll get to something that's more reasonable as we move on with this. So this is compensation agreement between brokers. So that's if the broker is going to pay you. And then we have compensation agreement between the broker and the owner. So that's if the owner is going to pay you. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And when you think about this, like I really think the traditional way works. And the reason being, whether you say the broker is going to pay you or the owner is going to pay you, it's going to look the same on their CD, right? It's really the exact same thing. It's really semantics. The buyer's bringing all the money, whether you say the other broker because they've charged X%, on the listing agreement, and they're going to give, for example, half to you. So that's broker paying you, or that half is going to be paid by the owner, and the owner is going to pay for you. The net, the CD, everything like that is really not any different. So I think a lot of our deals are going to be just like the traditional way we've always done it. But those are the forms that you need to make sure you're sending with your offers to make sure that you get paid. And let me just check. Nope, nothing in the chat there. So real important, and just it's going to be, it's going to be adding time. It's going to be annoying, but I don't know if everyone's seen everything out there. I mean, it's gonna be nuts for a short period of time here, and I think then like anything at the beginning, it's a little bit of mayhem, and then it'll ease off into I think a good pattern that makes sense to how it's worked. I mean, right now, if you've watched the news, you have some states that are refusing to do like signing the buyer rep. We just had our first counter lawsuit against NAR and this settlement. So parts of it are going to be crazy, but we just need to stay focused and do things right, stay compliant. And there's a lot of business out there, a lot of people that need our assistance. And we got to know that. Last year, I think the stat was like 85–90% buyers and sellers used a real estate agent, and we're happy about it. So I think it's important that we continue down that road and be professional out there in the marketplace. All right. Any question? Does that anyone that any part of that is not a question on it or confusion on how to fill these out or what you need to do? No, nothing in the chat. You guys are all good, 100%. And obviously, like always, you're going to hear things, and I expect calls. I want calls. That's how I learn too, from seeing what you guys get in that out there in the marketplace, what other, buyers agents are presenting to you. So make sure you keep those communication open with me on that part of it, because I'm always want to hear everything that's going on out there, and what's happening, so that we can try to be the best that we can be with what we're doing. All right, let me switch over here again. Give me 1 minute. Now, while I'm switching here, has anyone I'm assuming some of you have received offers on your listings with these new forms. Can someone speak to that? Has someone received an offer and receive these compensation forms? Anybody? No? I find it hard to believe that no one's received an offer with not including one of these forms. You can unmute yourself. I don't know if anyone's trying to talk to you. You got to unmute yourself to.
Hey,
chime
Rich,
in.
it's Leslie.
Yes.
Hey, I got an offer just executed yesterday, but they did not include these forms. So for now, is that okay? Or should I go back and have them send those in as well? Or
Well,
just
from a listing standpoint, yes, the risk is on the buyer's broker, right? So yes, if you have a listing and they just choose not to do that forms and they just trust you, that from a listing, if that's your listing, yes, that's fine. You really don't need anything there. Now they may have printed your listing when it did show. I mean, or they may have looked at our website, but you know, we clearly state on there that's not guaranteed. So no, I'm much more important for you guys on when you're making the offers that you include that. And I think it's early on, so some of the agents out there just haven't been told to do that yet. So that's probably going to happen. But no, from a listing side, there's nothing that's not going to be necessary for you to do. If you got it under contract, that's fine. And they probably put the percentage on the end page there, but so no, you wouldn't have to do anything in that case.
Hey, Rich, it's Shane.
Yes.
Hey, so I've got an executed and received contract as of yesterday. That's an intermediary deal. So how does this apply to that when I'm already in communication with both owner and buyer and representing both?
Well, are you representing both, or is one an unrepresented party?
No, I've got a buyer's rep sign for the buyer as well as the listing agreement sign.
Okay. Well, in that case, I mean, it's really, you're kind of sending it to yourself. So it would still, I would say in that case, just to protect yourself intermediary wise, would to have it signed. You know, that everyone knows the commission arrangement. So I think in that case, I would do it on there from even if you just did the one form, I think that would make sense to go ahead and do it.
Okay.
You know, it's all one brokerage, so there's no real reason to do the broker, you know, to broker
Right. Well,
form. So I would just do the
right.
one.
Yeah, that's kind of the crux of the question, right? Is the meat and potatoes of it is we're technically not compensating another brokerage from our brokerage. So from my understanding of these forms, we're showing how that compensation is paid out and transferred to another broker. And in this case, there's not another broker.
Right. Let me go back and look at that one form just to see how that would apply. Yeah, you got a point there. I guess maybe I wouldn't put it because it is addressing other broker and there is no other broker. Just like normally you would leave that blank on the 1 to 4 contract. So yeah, I guess you're right that I'll take that back. I will say you don't need these forms because it is applying to the other broker and there is no other broker on it. So it's strictly, and this is assuming that your listing agreement is that percentage, you know, is written that way because but yes, so I would say you're fine there with not having the forms in that scenario.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Rich, I had a quick question.
Sure.
So if we have old MLS sheets in our current listings, just because, you know, we put them out on day one or whatever, and the house hasn't sold yet, do we have to go and pick those up and destroy them? Or, I mean, so it's no longer an MLS, but it would probably be on that older sheet.
But that sheet doesn't show commission, does it?
Yeah, if it was an original MLS.
Well, it depends on what choice you picked. Normally, like if you picked like a consumer copy, it wouldn't show. but I don't know which maybe you did.
I
mean,
think I picked the agent copy is what I usually pick because it's got
Okay.
the notes and it's
No,
got everything.
no, that's static, material, just like you can have it on your sign. So no, you wouldn't have to destroy that.
Okay.
Yeah, since that's static, you know, advertising material. I mean, you can do that right now. You can go in and put a big sign in the listing. We're offering 3% buyer broker commission. So you'd be okay there.
Okay.
Rich, I have a question, and it has to go along with Tammy's question that she has in the chat. What if it's what if I have a contract with New Homes? So you mentioned earlier about the MLS and how it has it. I'm dealing with Lennar right now.
Sure.
Their MLS has 4%, and they're offering 2%. And I went back and asked them to change that. When we're dealing with somebody like a Lennar, which is notorious for moving things around, so how does that work? Especially going forward, do we send them those compensation sheets too now, even though they're on their contracts?
Yeah, no, they would not need those. The more important thing is really on your buyer rep. So, there's like before there, now that there's no MLS, is going to be a lack of accountability with builders. So you're going to have to negotiate what your compensation is with builders, but also it's going to have to match your buyer's rep because, right, the buyer's rep says I can only pay this. So in your example there, so your buyer rep says I can only be paid 3%. And if you would get a deal with Lennar for 4%, you do an amendment to your buyer's rep to be able to accept that 4%. So, but no, that's the part that's really terrible about this. There will be, before at least you could go to Lennar and say, hey, you had it listed in the MLS for this percentage. So it's kind of yet to see how Lennar is going to handle that, how these builders are going to handle it. Are they going to be, where are they going to post all their commissions, or is it just going to be on their website or when you go to see the property? So that's going to be evolve on how they're going to market that and market their commissions.
I think most will do that. In this particular case, I actually climbed the tree and talked to somebody, and they basically said, that's our internal way of telling you. I asked them for, hey, do you have something in writing? I'll accept whatever you have in writing. If you say, hey, you're not going to pay the 4% because of this reason, they couldn't come up with one. So I'm getting ready to close on this one client, and they're basically holding their stand on just paying the 2%. They don't care what's on the MLS. They don't really care what your site is. And again, I was in total agreement if they can come up with something. But when she started telling me it's an internal thing, I knew they were up to something.
So it was on the MLS at 4%?
It was on the I have a copy of that MLS sheet. And I went back and they said, hey, look, you know how they put your name on it? It's through Lennar, and they put your name on it as you're the agent. Right. It's going. Well, it has my name. It has 4% on the MLS. And when I called them to say, hey, look, you guys have 4% on this house, and you wrote up a contract for 2%, are you guys going to change that? And the sales rep didn't change it. He sent it up to somebody that says they're his supervisor or whatever. And she told me, no, she's not changing that.
And when was the contract written?
It was written earlier in the, I want to say it was written late last month.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty shitty, to be blunt, that they offered that and then they're changing it. But probably something we needed to jump on them, but you still have the MLS.
I still have the MLS sheet.
Yeah. That's where we're going to have to, I think it's going to be important, like at the time that you're actually writing, before you didn't have to worry about it. At the time you're writing a new build contract, you're going to have to be Mr. Greedy real estate agent, make sure what my commission is, make sure, or even getting something prior to that, just like you're going to do right now with other agents on resale properties, with new builds. You're going to have to try to hold them accountable yourself, because there's nowhere else to hold them accountable. Now, in your case, there was, and there still getting you. But moving forward, you're going to have to do that, make those calls, get that in writing, and try to secure that as much as you can. But the bottom line is, right, what's on the contract. No matter what they tell you, what they text you, in your case, even what's on the MLS, it's what's on that contract that counts. So we're going to have to be diligent when we have those contracts to watch what the commission is, what they told you the commission was, and then also that matches what your buyer rep is from a compliance standpoint. So those things will all be important.
A broker put it into MLS, a real estate agent put it into MLS, they ought to be able to be
Yes.
held accountable.
Exactly. And I think Tony, we can still make that argument to them too, on there, because you have a printout of that.
Okay, I'll bring it up to you.
Yeah,
and
we can talk about
I'll
that.
show you the contract, and I'll show you what's going on, so you can decide if you want to call the supervisor and go from there.
No, because that's exactly right, Carl. That's this, and this is what's going away, which I don't like. But yes, in this case, that broker put that in there, they should be paying that, because they gave you no reason they're not paying it, right? There's no
Other than it was internal, and I asked them, okay, well, send me something in writing, and I'm good.
internal
if
what?
you're just-
Internal what?
But if you're
Internal,
telling
they
me,
want the
if you're
money.
telling me just, if you're telling me just BS, and and you can't provide anything, even on a company letterhead, saying, hey, this is what it is. I'm good with it, as long as you can provide me something, and I'm good with it. But if you can't, then you need to change it.
Right.
And of course, she was not happy. She said the conversation's over. So, all right, see you later. Bye.
Okay.
I'm getting nowhere.
Yeah, that's annoying. Okay, yeah, we'll talk. Okay, just because I know a bunch of people logged on later too, I just want to go back to this real quick. You go to our agent hub. This has to go to with training, since there's so much going on. A couple things I'm doing. I know this is repeat for a bunch of you that were all on right at the first, but you go to our agent hub, you go to videos, and then you just scroll down, and I have two segments: general updates and contract updates. So I'll be now moving forward, and along with this broker update will go into the general updates, and they'll all be dated and timed in there, so that you can always come here if you can't make it to it live. Usually I'll have this up same day, at the very latest next day, so you'll be able to come here at all times and listen and watch anything that you miss. So I just wanted to let everyone know that again. Same thing with this. People were asking, I think, in the chat there too. So here is our page that has the broker agent commission, and it does, with the web, it does changes it to that address, but the address is rmnsabbc.com. So that's the one you want to give to other agents to go look. There's some reasoning tech-wise I'm not going to get into why it says a different address here, but if you plug in that address on any browser, rmnsabbc.com, you'll get to this page. I went over how we're going to edit that page and everything, so you should all be good there. Went over the concierge, which is good. Let me see if I got anything left on my list. Make sure I got the chats. It's Lennar. I'm not surprised. I know it's annoying, but okay. So it looks like Lennar is one we have to really watch. So just going to have to be diligent at the beginning. And does everyone, any other questions on how you change? One of the early on concerns was on your buyer's rep putting 3%, you can't accept 5%. So just hopefully everyone's clear. You just have to do an amendment. Obviously that's going to bring up the conversation. Like, I know some of you will share that, not share it. But it is what it is. You just have to make sure you do that and you amend that. If you're going to accept compensation that's greater than what you have on your buyer's rep. Okay.
Hey, Rich, I have a question about that on the new builds. So in the current buyer's rep, it has a section in there for if they are building. Is that going away now, or is that section still in there if someone chooses to build a home?
There's verbiage in there. Let me see. if I-
And the reason why I'm asking is because if you know, for example, you're going to a certain builder or a certain couple of builders, and they're all offering, let's say, just consistently 5%, would you be able to put that in that section and then not have to do the amendment?
No. They don't
Okay.
right now. I mean, that we might go to that system. That makes more logical sense, right? To do something like that. But the way they have it now, it has to be definitive. It can't be this, that, or this happens, I get paid that. So that's why right now I'm thinking that's going to change at some point. But right now, it's supposed to be flat, and this is what I'm getting paid unless I amend it. You can't start getting into, because then you're really back to not why have anything in there, right? I'm just going to get paid what's offered. So that's what they're trying to do. I don't think it's very efficient or it's going to last long term. But right now, it's got to be a definitive number. It can't be a variable situation. And it's a good point. Let me bring this up too, because I know it's out there. I've already talked to agents about it. So I put 3% in there, blatantly says, hey, if the seller's not going to pay me, that you're going to pay me. No, obviously that's a concern for buyers that don't have a lot of cash. Now, to that point too, I want to point out that, just because if you run into a seller not paying compensation, that doesn't mean you can't put it in your offer, whether it's seller's concessions or different things like that. There's nothing prohibiting you to do that to save your buyer from having to pay you. So that's going to get interesting too. Right now, we're not seeing a lot of that, but that could occur, and that doesn't prevent you from getting paid. But one of the things that buyers are going to object to is like they're going to be afraid, that, hey, I'm buying a $300,000 house. If that seller is not going to pay me, I'm going to owe you $9,000 or whatever that percentages you have in there. And that was the same way in our old buyer rep contract, but now it's just much more in their face. So you're going to have that discussion with them. Different agents are going to handle that differently. Some agents are going to say, hey, okay, if they're only offering 2, I'm not going to charge you that other 3. But contractually, again, it has to be definitive. So you're not going to be able to put all these variables in there. Like I said, I hope that we're going to have some changes to that, but that just is the way it is, whether it's on the downside or the upside. It's not something we can change at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, seller. Okay, another question here. If the seller or other broker is not paying a commission and the buyer is paying the commission, is there another form we need to sign to turn into the lender? No, because that's covered on your buyer's rep. So there wouldn't be another form. And that brings up another good question on there. So in that case, if your buyer's paying, there wouldn't be another form. You would just, let title know that. And I've had that question come up like, well, do we have to send agreements to title? We have to do this? And no, you don't. Just like now, they trust what you send them. Now, does that mean there won't be disputes, or someone might say, no, that's not right? And then you can deal with it with going through that or going through the agreements. But there's no, at this point anyway, could title companies change and want something? I don't think they will, because those are agreements between you and your client. Generally, you don't have to produce those. But in the case of a dispute, that may change. But right now, you're going to do things very similarly that, that listing agent's going to let the title company know, or in the case of Leslie, your question, if the buyer's paying you, then you're going to let that title company know, hey, this is a buyer charge on there. So that is something that's going to be a little different in those cases. I think, at least to start, as you can see by ours, there's nobody here offering 0 commission, which is good. And hopefully that, people need representation. So that hopefully that's going to be the way things stay. And it makes sense. One of my favorite arguments here is some of this push is to you could argue is to try to get rid of the buyer's agent, and that's really insane. My example that I like to use is like if I'm going into court and I'm going into court against the other guy, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm just going to use his attorney. I'll save on my attorney's fee. I'm sure he'll look out for me, right? That's insane. Like no one in their right mind would ever do that. So not apples to apples, but pretty similar. You shouldn't go into the biggest purchase of your life without representation and someone that's a professional that knows what they're doing and that's going to take care of you and someone who's going to do all that for you. And that's where you have to really up your game as a buyer agent. You need to be full service, all in buyer's agent. There's no more just put my name on it, because people aren't going to pay that and they're not going to see the value there. You really have to show your value as a buyer agent, which many of you do already. And that's why for those type clients, it's like a non-issue. I've talked to agents, they're like, they know, they trust me, they know I work hard and they do it. They sign up in a heartbeat and it's not an issue. But for new clients, new business, and you have to prove your value, you need to, and we'll have other trainings on that moving forward, but that's very important on that side of it. Let me see if we got any more chats. No, I don't think so. All right, that's gonna wrap it up for today. I am monitoring. Please, if you see something on a few different fronts here, if you see something and it's like, well, this looks like totally not what Rich said, and I think Rich is full of crap, send it to me. I am not at all adverse to being wrong. I try to be as right as much as I can and help you guys as much as I can, but this is going to change. Whatever way it's happening today with the change, my feeling is in 7 days, it'll be a little different. In 14, it'll be a little different, because people are going to push the limits. They're going to try different things. We're going to find out, hey, that was really cool, and hey, it is compliant. Or we're going to find out, hey, that is cool, but that's non-compliant. You better stop doing that. And those things are going to be out there, because it's a massive change in the perception and on the MLS change. But really, the way we're doing business is not changing. So you got to be positive there. Keep doing what you guys do, because you're great at what you do. But also, I need feedback. I hear it every day because my wife gives me feedback. Maybe I don't always want it, but she'll give it to me. Like you all, I know, need a sounding board, but make sure you guys are giving me that feedback too. You see something positive or negative, or something you think we need to address, make sure you're letting me know that as soon as possible. I'll make sure I'm doing my due diligence on what's out there, posting these, being a little more organized communication wise, so that make sure you're not missing anything. And we'll get through this. I think in the end, we're going to be left with more professional agents, less agents. There'll be more business out there for us. I don't know if you looked at the financial things this week with the PPI and the CPI are all positive towards rate cuts, which is not that rate cuts are everything, but obviously that's been a big talking point. It's been to nauseum, and I think they're finally going to happen here soon. And that should help some of our market and get some of our people that have sat on the sidelines going, and help your volume of business. So let me just check chat one more time. If anyone has any other questions, please chime in now before we finish it off. Okay, I don't see anything else in the chat there. So we are almost at our hour. Anything else? Anybody got anything? Don't be afraid to shout it out, or if something that you don't want to shout out in the group, I am available. I am out of the office these next 3 days, but I am 100% available. I expect calls. I expect questions. I look forward to them, actually, because that really helps me do my job. So please do that. And we got our Roxanne back today from her vacation, which is awesome, because she's always sorely missed. We had some great people fill in, but there's nothing like our Roxanne at the front desk. So she is back and ready to roll and help you guys with whatever you need to. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you all for being on, and I will see you soon. Appreciate it.